Welcome back to The Haunted Beard, everybody. Thank you once again for joining me. Today, I want to give you my review for the latest Shudder original film, and that is The Devil's Bath. Now, in addition to being a horror film, this is mainly what I would call a dark historical drama, as it takes place in Austria in the 18th century. And this tells the story of this woman, Agnes, who is this newly married woman who desires nothing more than to have a child of her own that she can raise and take care of. But the difficulties and hardships of her life gradually bring her to a very deep, dark place that eventually leads to violence. Now, what makes this film so interesting is that it is basically a true story, as there were many stories that have been uncovered from actual court documents and written records of events just like this that actually occurred in history. And so this film really presents itself as this slice of life, this real story of people's actual experiences back in the mid-1700s. And so as we progress through the film, what we are witnessing is not only Agnes's physical deterioration, but largely her mental deterioration, as she is someone who, from what I could gather, is battling some mental health issues, most likely depression and probably some other things as well. And so this is what seems to me a very realistic and pretty brutal look at what mental health would have looked like and depression would have looked like in people's lives during this time period when we really had no understanding of it and no sort of explanation of it whatsoever. And this is just a very dark, bleak, and depressing film. Every once in a while, I'll come across a movie like The Devil's Bath that I fully acknowledge that it is a well-made film. Technically, from the talent behind the camera to the talent in front of the camera, there's not really any sort of criticisms I could make about this movie. It looks gorgeous. The movie's authenticity is off the charts. It really looks like somehow they uncovered a video camera from the mid-1700s and you are watching a slice of life from people during those times. So everything about this just looks and feels totally real and authentic. There's some beautiful just shots and scenery. The performances, specifically by the main lead, Agnes, is really powerful and just really effective. She just has some moments that are just really well done. And sort of the range of emotions that she is able to communicate. She doesn't say a whole lot, and so there are elements of it that are a little more subtle. And then there's other scenes that are not subtle at all, but all around just a really strong performance. And in terms of how effective the horrific elements are, they are really impactful in a very realistic sort of way. This is a movie that it pulls no punches. It really is trying to give you a very honest, realistic look at what life is like during these times, and specifically what life was like for an individual with depression. And it is absolutely brutal. The film runs about 2 hours and it feels very slow, but it's slow by design, as it's really trying to put you into the mindset and sort of the feeling and the experience of the main character. And so it is a much slower paced film by design. And so, like I said, there's not really any sort of criticisms I can make with this movie from a technical standpoint. I think it's a very successful movie. It accomplishes what it sets out to accomplish. It leaves its mark. It makes an impact. And so overall, it's just a really well-made and well-executed film. However, it's also a movie I can say I will probably never have any interest or desire to rewatch. And it's also one that I would say I didn't really enjoy, but you're really not supposed to enjoy it. It's not an enjoying, entertaining type movie. It's just an honest, straightforward look at life during these times. And so I can commend the film for being very well made and effective, while also acknowledging it's not something I really had a great time watching. To make a further illustration, I could walk into an art museum and see this amazing painting from the Renaissance and fully acknowledge the talent it took to paint it and how amazing it is, while also saying, yeah, but it's not something I would ever want to hang up in my house. That's kind of The Devil's Bath. It's extremely well made. It's a very impressive and powerful film, but it's not one I would really want to put on my DVD shelves and ever really rewatch again, sort of thing. So, you know, how do you balance all that out? Is it a movie I would recommend? Yeah, I mean, I think it is worth a one-time watch. There are two sequences in particular that are really shocking and upsetting. The opening 5-6 minutes of the movie really grabs your attention and does something that I didn't expect. And then what the movie ultimately culminates to in the end leads to what I think is just a very upsetting scene that, man, it's very effective again, but I did not enjoy it. And so it's one of those movies that I'm glad I watched. I think it's worth watching. It has something interesting to say, and it says it in a very powerful way. I'm glad this movie exists because, again, I think it looks at an actual part of history that it's important to be able to look at these things and see these sorts of things of what people have gone through and people's experiences and things like that. But also acknowledging, yeah, I'm probably not ever going to rewatch this one again. So as far as a grade goes, I don't know how I would average all that out. You know, the filmmaking is like an 8 or a 9. The enjoyment is like a 3 or a 4. So I don't know, maybe like a 6 or something like that. But this is another one of those movies where the grade feels like it doesn't really even do it justice. So those are my thoughts on this thing. There's not really a whole lot more to say other than just acknowledging the technical talent while also saying I didn't really enjoy it all that much. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Hit me up down below, though. Would be interested in hearing your thoughts and what you got out of this one. Yeah, would love to hear from you. So that's all I got for you. Like always, thank you so much for watching. If you got anything out of this video, go ahead and do me a favor and do not click that subscribe button unless you want to be haunted by the beard.